So, how are you today, Mr. Meredith?
I am fine, but please call me James.
Alright, James. First, I'd like to congratulate you on becoming the first African American accepted into the University of Mississippi and successfully integrating schools.
Why, thank you, Mr. Spitz. It means a lot.
Alright, now let's get into things. So, what exactly motivated you to take on this difficult endeavor?
Well, being born in Mississippi, I personally never lost the idea that the state belonged to my kind and me. I believe that it was truly my time to step up, and that previous people and events had done a great job of paving the way for my opportunities. Also, since President Kennedy was elected, it was clear that he was a civil rights advocate and that it was my time to try and step up and make a difference.
Can you elaborate on that? Are you okay there, Mr. Meredith?
Yes, thank you very much. There are so many people and events that had such profound influences on me. For example, while I was still in the Air Force, I heard about the Brown versus Board of Education results following the Little Rock 9 crisis. And that was such a turning point, not only in the civil rights movement, but also a huge motivation for me. Since the outcome was that all schools in the nation were to be desegregated, I believe that this was my best shot at achieving my dreams and attending the University of Mississippi. Also, another inspiration was Medgar Evers and his involvement with the NAACP.
And what were you trying to get across by doing this?
Well, there always has to be a first for everything, and I wanted new opportunities and more people to see what I could do and what I was capable of. I wanted to make a statement and say, don't be afraid and take your own initiatives. I wanted to open the door for other colored students to freely pursue their education and not be afraid and have the same education and be equal to whites.
Also, can you enlighten us? What was it like going through the whole legal process with the university?
Well, that was really tough. Originally they withdrew my application upon finding out my color. And trust me, I was well qualified. But then I took legal action, and finally the case made its way to the Supreme Court. They ruled in my favor and agreed that Missouri was violating the law on integrating schools. Even after the Supreme Court ruled in my favor, Governor Ross Barnett did everything in his power to prevent me from getting into the university. Eventually, he caved in.
Wow, that sounds truly amazing. It'll probably go down as a huge milestone in American history. Now, though you had the protection of getting to school, can you share what it was like in the halls and the actual classes?
Well, I'm not going to lie, this was one of the hardest things I had to do. I received many racial and derogatory comments and threats, but I knew that I'd have to stick through it and keep my head up in order to pursue my career in law and protect the reputation of all African Americans everywhere. I didn't want to make anyone look weak.
Can you touch upon what it was like to have the President of the United States backing you up?
That was one of the most remarkable moments of my life. I'll never forget when President Kennedy sent up thousands of troops to ensure my safety, and he basically sent a message to people all over the country. He was trying to show that the government helped and supported our movement completely, but most importantly, he understood that we as blacks deserve an equal education, just as equal to whites, and that what I was doing was very important.
Out of all the schools in the country, why Ole Miss in particular?
Well, it's really interesting, actually. I viewed this prestigious university as a symbol of white supremacy, and I knew that if I could break the segregated school barriers, anything else could be possible, and anyone could break any barriers and do anything they put their mind to.
Were you ever scared?
Sure, I was scared, but I made sure that I would not show my fear to anyone, because that's what the whites wanted. They wanted to see my fear, and it would bring them pleasure if I showed fear. And if I showed any fear at all, it meant that they had the upper hand and I was weak.
Alright. Unfortunately, we're reaching the end of our show. I'd like to ask, what are your future plans?
Well, I'm very interested in writing a memoir and sharing my experiences with the rest of the world. And I also want to be a prominent civil rights leader and activist.
Alright, well that about does it for tonight's show. Any last words you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, I would like to say, if you are feeling hurt or discriminated against in any way, please don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and fight for your rights. Our people and me have been treated as second-class citizens for forever, and now we are seeing a change for the first time, people, but we can't just sit and watch. So get out there, make a difference in the world, and fight for what's yours. Don't be afraid to stand up for your rights.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. James Meredith.
Thank you so much.